Good afternoon. I'm so tired. It's kind of crazy how vacations can cause you to be so tired. Yeah, so I've got a lot of I can't even talk. I've got a lot of video editing ahead of me to get caught up with the last 3 days. These are 2 folders full of footage. And it's taken a while to import them into the project, so I'm gonna be sitting here for a little while, kind of just waiting on this little status bar. So in the meantime, while that's loading and everything, I kind of wanted to try and switch gears and get back into the build mode, because Halloween is coming up very, very quickly, and I still have a lot to do. So I just kind of wanted to give a status update on where everything's at right now and what else needs to be done. So, when I last left off, I was carving this tombstone. And I still gotta finish the carving on this and then paint it. And that'll be done, and I can start working on another tombstone, since I have all this spare foam right there. And then we have the good old Deadwood Cemetery sign. While we were on vacation, I was seeing you guys' comments on it. I'm sorry I didn't do so well at responding to comments over the last 3 days. For one, I didn't have very good internet service out there. The hotel's Wi-Fi was pretty lame. And 2, I was just kind of like, you know, I was enjoying everything, so it wasn't really on my mind. But I've been giving more and more thought about this sign. To trying to think about, I know I asked you guys before I left, should I paint the letter, should I paint the back, blah blah blah. And I don't know, I just don't know which way, if either way, would look good. So I think, as of right now, I'm just gonna consider this done. Obviously it's not, I mean, that's not even painted yet. But I think the best thing for me to do right now is just to call it done, set this aside, move on to another project, because I feel like I'm not gonna know for certain how I should paint this until I actually have it set up outside and see it like lit up and everything. And I don't want to like paint it one way now, get it set up, and then turns out to look bad. So I'd rather just kind of leave it like it is right now, get it set up, and then once it's set up, then I can figure out, okay, it looks better if I paint this gold, or paint this gold, or leave it all black, or whatever, and then I can worry about that later. Because, like I said, I have a lot more stuff I need to do, so I need to get moving. I can't stay on one project for too long. So, with that being said, the next project is going to be starting to focus on my garage haunt, which I haven't touched like at all, which is kind of a problem. I told you guys from the beginning that I was focusing a lot of attention to the cemetery this year, rebuilding it from scratch, and I've done a lot. It is definitely a much bigger and better cemetery than it ever was before. But, you know, I finished the columns, finished the sign for the most part. So those are like the main pieces of it. I got the Death Rising prop, and that was another big piece of it. As for the rest of the cemetery, really it's just a matter of building new tombstones and stuff. So that's stuff that I can work on kind of on the side. But now I need to make the main project be the masquerade ballroom. And I definitely have a lot to do in there. So why don't we walk in there, and I'll give you kind of a rundown of what my plans for that are. So, you know, I haven't actually even stepped foot in here in several months. So, I'm not gonna be surprised if, yep, it's kind of been trashed since the last time I was in here. As I've mentioned in the past, I don't live here by myself. I do still live with my parents for the time being, and they like to use my Halloween area storage, but that's okay. I gotta get out here and start organizing again. So basically, this year, with this being a ballroom, what I need to do is You may remember several months ago I had the fiasco of getting the curtain rod up there across. That was before I got so focused on the cemetery stuff. So I have the curtain rod up there, so I need to get curtains that are long enough to cover up this wall. I could always just paint this wall, but we spent a lot of time on this circus wall last year, and I really don't want to do it. Even if I never do a circus theme again, I just really don't want to get rid of this wall. It's really cool. So yeah, I gotta get the curtains up there. They gotta be long enough to cover the whole wall. Originally I was thinking black curtains, but now I was kind of thinking like a gold or a silver, since it's supposed to look kind of like, you know, fancy and stuff. And then pretty much this room is gonna mostly be empty because it's gonna be like a show that I've got to explain to you. Now I also showed you guys a few months ago, I got those sconces back there from a thrift store, put some LED tea lights in it, and they look fantastic. So once I get the curtains up, then I'll mount those onto the wall over there to look all fancy and elegant. There's a, I can't go show it to you right now because it's like covered in a bunch of stuff. There's a really old piano out back in the backyard that we found on the side of the road 2 years ago. It's kind of falling apart, but that's fine. It doesn't need to actually function. It just needs to look like a piano. I want to get that in here, kind of get it cleaned up a little bit, make it look like it hasn't been sitting out in the backyard for 2 years. And that'll kind of just be like a set piece, kind of like pushed against the wall or something, just to kind of give it that ballroom feel. And then, as far as, that's like the main prop. I wanted to get, let me explain. Have I explained the full theme? I don't even know if I have. So it's gonna be a ballroom, but it's gonna be like, we're calling it the Masquerade. So, the best way I can explain it is, think of Phantom of the Opera meets The Purge. It's like a bunch of people every Halloween get together in these fancy ball gown outfits and have a masquerade, but then they kill people on the side. So it's gonna look like a ballroom, it's got the piano and everything, and then I'm gonna have some old furniture, probably something I just find at Goodwill, just kind of like placed around with plastic draped over it with like blood splatter on the plastic. Like, you know, they don't want to mess up their nice furniture, so they cover it up. So that's really it for the main props. The piano, the lights on the wall, the curtains, and a couple pieces of furniture covered in plastic. And then as far as lighting goes, I've been trying to find a chandelier of sorts, or like a candelabra or something that I wanted to hang from like up there, that would hang down and look all like fancy and stuff. If you've been watching for a few years, I always like putting kind of a hint out here to the public of what the theme is going to be in here. Like 2 years ago for the zombie quarantine, I had like caution tape and some like beacon lights that were spinning to kind of give a hint of like emergency. Last year for the circus, I had a circus sign hanging from up there that had like a flickering light on it to show that it was gonna be like a creepy circus. So I think this year it'd be cool if there's like a chandelier or a candelabra hanging down or something to kind of show that it's gonna be like elegant sort of setting. So yeah, that's pretty much it. A lot of it, it's gonna be fairly easy. It's just a matter of like finding the props and stuff that I need. I won't be like building stuff from scratch like I did that last year. That took a very long time last year to build. Speaking of that, I gotta figure out somewhere to put that even. But yeah, so that's the plan for in here. The basic plan anyway. So, like I said, I need to try and switch gears over from the cemetery to working on that. And then come October 1st, I can start setting up the cemetery out in the yard, and it'll help me figure out like what I should paint and everything. Also, there's a package here. I never even heard the doorbell ring. Good evening. It's much later in the evening now. I got home from work a little while ago. It took me a very long time to edit the first vacation day vlog. It took me about 2.5, almost 3 hours. Kind of crazy. I did want to show you earlier today when I was showing the plans for the masquerade ball. Walked back in and I got the package. I want to show you what it was. It was the first piece of my masquerade costume. Let's see, find a good spot to show you. My masquerade costume this year. It's like a steampunk sort of thing, which, I mean, the ballroom's not gonna be like masquerade, or I mean, steampunk theme or anything, but I think the mask is kind of cool. The only thing is it's hard. It's got like these little ribbons that I have to tie in the back, and so far I have not been able to successfully tie it, so that's why I'm just kind of holding it right here. But yeah, I think that's kind of cool. The only thing I don't like is this. This is a little weird. I might take that off. But yeah, it's cool. I like it. But because it has gotten late, I'm still tired from our trip, so I'm gonna head on to bed. So, as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you tomorrow.